a bag. It's something that's about to change your life forever. Okay, mommy's having a baby. Really surprised me. Not yet. What if me not here? It's okay.
You're not gonna be the youngest kid anymore.
No, you get to be a big sister. Yay! Give me 5.
Baby boy, stay on my mind. Girls, we run this mother. Baby boy, stay on my mind. Girls, we run this mother. All right, here we go. 3, 2, 1. Keep 1. Get it.
Today we're going to do the birth story of Miss Nohea Jane. That's our little baby. She's 3 weeks old today. And yeah, so we're going to let you know, how it all went down. So I went into labor on the 14th, September 14th. And it was about around, I'd say 9 p.m.
Maybe I'll start from the beginning, though.
What's the beginning?
So,
that is the beginning.
So this is actually the beginning. The way it went was, so we had a doctor's appointment on Thursday, about 11 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah.
Typical appointment, went in, doctor was busy, so, we couldn't see the doctor and stuff, so we had to see the physician's assistant that day. So she did all her stuff, did all her measurements, and then decided to check, and we were only 2.5 centimeters. So we were like, well, I guess we're not having a baby anytime soon. So she wanted to set up a schedule for our due date to possibly be induced if we got to that date. So we're like, okay, no problem. We'll see you next week.
Yeah, because I was still at 2.5, and that was from 2 weeks prior, from the last couple of visits. So nothing had changed. It just kind of was at a standstill. So
yeah, so it was interesting. So we decided to go. We went and had lunch, and then we went to a lake. It's a nearby lake that's by the house, and we just walked around on the pier and took pictures and just enjoyed the day. It was bright and sunny and a nice breeze, so we
really
figured
nice,
we'd enjoy the day.
yeah.
So. Then we also went to Target to walk around and buy more stuff for the incoming edition. So that's always a pleasure.
Target run.
So
yeah.
and we got home about 5 something, and the kids, kids were at home. The older kids were at home. So we just relaxed for the rest of the night.
And so I was just sitting down watching TV, and it was probably around 9-ish, somewhere around there. I started feeling contractions, and because I had been having them throughout the day, with all the walking and all, but nothing substantial. And I noticed like around 9:30 they're starting to come more often. So I told Dad, I was like, okay, we need to download a tracker, because I've completely forgotten how to time them and stuff. So he gives me a tracker, and then I'd say around 10 they start really coming.
Well, our oldest son, he's about 16. He was getting ready for bed, and the 2 other smaller kids, they were already in bed. So I kind of pulled him to the side and was like, hey, if for any reason we're not here when you wake up in the morning, we're probably at the hospital because she's probably going into labor. So if that's the case and you see us not here, just put the kids on the bus. Make sure the kids get on the bus to get to school, and then I'll call you. Call me as soon as you get up. And he's like, okay, no problem. He's like, is she having a baby? I'm like, we don't know yet. We'll see. So he says okay. He runs upstairs and he heads to bed. So we're just downstairs relaxing. So my wife is like, babe, I'm kind of hungry. Can you fix me some food? And I was like, hey, you want some nachos? And she's like, you know what? That's perfect. So we have these nice ceramic dishes. Yeah. And I was gonna stick some nachos in there and put the cheese on it and all that good stuff.
You wanted to be so Chef Boyardee.
Heated up. So I went to go grab it, and it's usually in a box that we keep them in.
Mind you, I say, hey, just get a regular bowl. It's no time for fanciness. He's like, no, he wants to do it fancy.
So I go in the cabinet, pull out the box, and all of a sudden the dish falls off and smashes into 100 pieces. And I'm thinking to myself, like, OMG.
Yep.
And my wife, like, freaks out and loses it. Oh my God, you broke my stuff. I
did not lose it.
She was mad.
But I told him not to go for the thing. And mind you, you know how it ended up on top of the box?
It wasn't me.
He left it on top of the box the last time.
I actually think it was one of the kids because there's no reason it would be on the box instead of in the box.
Don't be trying to blame the kids.
I couldn't really say anything because I was completely wrong. So she gets completely mad, and then she runs into the laundry room. And she starts...
Imagine me at 9 months running into the laundry room.
She swiftly walks into the laundry room and starts cleaning out the washing machine.
Yeah.
So, while I'm cleaning up the mess, I'm just like, I got egg on my face, and I'm like, oh my God. So I clean up the mess, and I, put it up, and then I put the nacho stuff in a regular bowl. And
But
I go ask her, like, why are you cleaning out the washer? And she's like, I don't know, I just need some time. In the meantime, the contractions are getting stronger.
Yes, I needed to diffuse from the contractions. It had nothing to do with anything else. I mean, the bowl thing did compound the situation, but the contractions were getting so intense so quickly that I didn't have time to notice that they were intensifying quicker than I thought, and I was trying to distract myself.
So I decided to Google how many contractions did you have, how soon before you leave, and then part of it is talking about women starting to nest and stuff, and I'm like, oh, I guess that's why she's cleaning the washer. So I say to her in between her contractions, because she's like, give me a minute. I say to her like, hey, maybe we should head to the hospital. She's like, no, I don't want to go. I just need to use the bathroom. And I'm like, we probably should just go. No, I don't want to go because the hospital's about 30 minutes away. And she was like, yeah, I don't want him to send me home. I'm like, okay. So she's like, she leaves the washer and she goes to go sit on the, sit in the bathroom. Her nachos is still sitting there on the counter and it's getting cold.
I never ate my nachos.
So she's sitting in the bathroom on the toilet and she's like, I think I gotta go. And I'm like, I think we should just go to the hospital because the last thing I want you to do is have the baby in the toilet. She's like, no, I just gotta go. And I'm like,
he's so dramatic.
Can we please
Nobody's
just
having a baby in the toilet.
Go to the hospital? And she's like, no, call the nurse. And I'm like, you know what? In the meantime, I'm getting ready. I'm dressed. I've grabbed all the stuff. I've got it packed up. I'm like, and she's just sitting in the bathroom having contractions. And I'm like, okay. So I finally get the phone because she would not go anywhere. And I called the nurse.
I wanted them to let the doctor know that we were coming. Like, who doesn't want their doctor to be there after you waited 9 months?
Well, it was just crazy. So I decided to, we finally get in touch with the nurse. And she's asking me like 101 questions. And I'm like, lady, can we just, go? And she's like, oh.
He just wants somebody to say it's okay for us to
she's
go.
She's asking me all these questions, and then all of a sudden, she hear in the background a loud moan, like, oh! She's like, so the nurse is like, is that her in the background? I'm like, yes. She's like, you need to go to the hospital right now. And I'm like, babe, she said we need to go. She's like, okay, we'll go. So I grab all the stuff. It's already in the car. Turn the car on. Turn the truck on. It's sitting there. It's ready to go. And then I go grab her, and every 3 steps she stops.
Yeah, because they literally could not walk. That's how bad they were getting at this point.
We're never going to get out of the house. She's going to have this baby. So I finally get into the car, hit the garage up, and then we leave. And we head out and we're on the journey to the hospital. So riding on the highway, she's sitting in the seat like this, and she has her
I'm
contraction
still tracking
app, you know,
at
so,
that time.
so-
And I didn't notice that they had gone from like 15 minutes to 10 minutes to 7 minutes to 5 minutes. They're literally like 3 minutes apart at this point. We still have 30 minutes to go.
So, you know, I'm driving as fast as the speed limit would allow me, plus a little extra because it didn't matter at that point. So I'm riding up, so we, you know, take the main highway and then we connect on another highway to get to the hospital. Well, the connecting bridge to the next highway is closed. Never been closed ever before since we've lived here.
We also went that way
Like
earlier that day.
So they
They
decided
didn't
to
have
close
any
it.
warning, nothing.
And I'm like, I can't believe it's closed. So I had to find another exit to get off. So I get off on the main street, and I had to take that up through lights. So of course I have to stop at a light, stop at a light, stop at a light, find a connection back to get on the highway that we need to get to the hospital. Because if we took the back roads, it would take us like 50 years.
Meanwhile, this feels
highway.
like the longest journey
Yeah, it was.
of my life. And I'm just like trying not to freak out and say, can we just get there already?
So I'm flying down the highway, and in the meantime, we're talking. She's, responsive, and we're still tracking the thing. So we finally get to the hospital at about, we left the house about 11:30. We get to the hospital about 12:05, 12:07, somewhere around there. So I fly into the emergency room entrance, parking area, and then there was a big wheelchair right outside the door. So I grabbed it, put all the stuff on it, and I helped her out of the car. That took us
I had
a
to
minute or
stop
so.
again like 10
So
times.
I put her in, and then close the door, and then I run inside, and the lady at the front desk, and she's like, labor and deliveries on floor 2, you can go in. And I'm like, can I leave my truck there? And she's like,
She's like 10.
I don't know.
An
And I
after
was like,
school job. She's like, I don't know.
so I run back outside, move the truck into a parking space, run back inside, and then we run up to the second floor. So we headed down the hallway. We get to the second floor. They're like, okay, go to the labor and delivery area. So we get there, and we got to go register. I'm like, wow, we have to
They
register.
would not let us register at the walkthrough that we did like months ago.
Yeah,
And I was like, this has
protocol.
got to be like the craziest thing. Everybody that I've talked to, they're like, our hospital let us pre-register.
Yeah, so I don't know. So
So
I'm sitting there, and I let the lady know at the registration desk, like, hey, she's in labor, like we need to go, and she's like, okay, give me a second.
like literally, she was slower than
It
molasses
took
on a cold,
For
snowy
like
day.
she's sitting there, and she finally asked for
She's like,
information, and she's like,
I don't normally work on this floor. I work at OR. And I'm like, you think? Because you have like no responsiveness.
she was typing as slow as molasses on Sunday night.
She
It
was like
just crazy.
Methuselah's grandmother.
So it
So
was pretty,
she's like
crazy.
asking me all these questions. Mind you, he's standing right there. She's asking me a million questions. I can't even talk. My voice has changed. I am like in the deepest voice that you could think of right now, growling just to stay out of. I'm literally telling them over and over and over again, the baby is coming.
Well, she's sitting there and she's screaming loudly because she's going through these loud contractions. She's like, I need you to sign this. And we're like, look. And after a while, when I guess it finally hit her, like, she probably really is in labor. She's like, just scratch on this little piece. So she, like, signs real quick. And they're like, let's go take her to triage. So I'm like, cool. So we walk over to the triage. And we get there. And they're like, okay, ma'am, I need you to put this gown on. So I'm trying to help her take her. She stands
I'm
up.
like, I don't even care about putting a gown on at this point.
Well, you tried. So we took the dress off, and she's about to put the gown on, and I look down, and there's liquid on the floor, and I'm like, I think her water just broke. And the lady's like, well, just put the gown on. She's like, I don't want the gown. So she, like, throws it down. And he's like, I just need you to get on the bed so we can check you.
Right.
So I'm like, so she, like, kind of flops onto the bed. She's sitting there, and then the nurse checks her, and she's like, we need a room right now. Let's go.
She's like screaming
Code
down
17.
the hall.
I don't know what code it was. Code blue. So they're like,
She's screaming down the
a
hall.
nurse runs in and they grab triage.
Yeah,
And then
I'm like,
they take the bed and they.
all I can say at this point is like, I told you so.
Yeah.
Like I've said it 100 times. Like this baby is coming.
Yeah. So they take the bed and they run it around the corner, and they take her into the room, which is like right next door, and they're getting her set up. Like 5 or 6 nurses come running in. And they're trying to. They put the bed where it needs to be, and then they're trying to get.
They're trying to get the
up.
fetal monitors on me.
They're
That
trying to
didn't
strap
happen.
everything. She's like, the baby's coming.
was
and-
not like that.
Yes, it
I
was.
just let them
She said,
know in a loud voice.
And then the nurse like opens her legs, and then the baby pops out right in the bed.
Yeah.
She just drops, and they're like, "Oh shoot!" So they pick her
Right.
up. I mean, it was just right on the bed, so it's not like she fell like off a cliff or anything like that. But
Right, but
they grab
just
her
before
and
that,
they,
I
you
was
know,
standing up,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I was having a major contraction and pushing, and then I get on the bed, and the nurse is like, "Don't push, okay?" I'm like, "Lady, I'm so far beyond that right now.
Yeah,
like
so-
a head is coming."
Yeah, it was done. And she saw it, and the baby was there, and then they, it was like, well, I guess you were in line, so they picked her up and gave her, so she
And
can
all
have
of
the-
this happened in.
It's about roughly 18 minutes.
Yep.
Everything happened in 18 minutes. I mean,
She
that's
was
for
born
me
at
parking at the
12.
hospital to, the baby jumping out of the
She was
socket.
being. She was born at 12:24 a.m.
Yeah, so it
on
was
September 15th. So
and
it was an epic birth.
So,
and
and the funny part was the doctors never made it. Even the doctor who was down the hall, she didn't even have time to walk down. And then, I think about 10 or 15 minutes after the baby was born, the doctor made it. And
the
he was
doctor
like,
on call made it. Yeah.
well, hey, how are you doing? My name is such and such.
I was
Thank
like,
you
"Baby's
so much.
over there. Thanks for coming."
He's like, man, this must have been quick. I'm sad I missed it. And it was just like, it was over. And I mean, it was a pretty intense situation.
Pretty epic.
Unbelievable, actually.
Yeah.
Because
I've heard of fast births, but man, that was ridiculous.
we would have stayed home a little longer. She'd have had the baby in the car, and we'd probably have to throw it away after that because it would have been,
The car, not the baby.
yeah, the car. We'd have to get a new car because we couldn't clean out all the baby juice everywhere. So, but it was quite an experience, especially for our last child.
Yeah.
So
It was definitely memorable. So
when she
we
came
love
out,
telling that story. It's really funny. All the moving parts. It's just hilarious. So
yeah, it's pretty crazy. But then she came out pretty little. She's only 5 pounds 14 ounces, and she's a
17 inches.
little bundle of joy.
She's just
She's
perfect.
so-
Everything. Mind you, the doctor told me she was going to be at least 7 pounds, and
'Cause she
we're
was
thinking
about the
she's
size
going
of
to
a
be
house.
huge.
Her stomach was maybe 3 babies in. We
My
thought she was
husband,
having
ladies and
triplets.
gentlemen, his pregnant wife was the size of a house.
No. I said
Thank
just
you.
stomach. The stomach. The house for the baby was the size of a house.
Yeah.
So
But
But-
our little sweet baby came out, and she's just been a joy ever since. She's perfect and happy and healthy, and she's good. She's
yeah.
good.
So
So
quite an experience.
yeah.
It was fun. So,